Hello and welcome to PCI Webinars. Today's webinar, Best Series for Teen Anime Clubs with Eden Gray. Eden is the Teen Services Librarian at the Jessamine County Public Library in Nicholasville, Kentucky. When she's not at the library, Eden is writing several YA novels, working on cosplay, tending to her dachshund, or out catching Pokemon. You can also find her on Twitter at Eden Jean Grey, that's EdenJeanGrey, and at www.graylibrarian.com. Coming to you now from lovely Central Kentucky, it's Eden Gray.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here today. It looks like there are a lot of people that work with youth. It looks like pretty much everybody does youth or teen programs. That's really exciting. Usually we have a good mix of people who the topic is extremely relevant for, and some people who maybe it isn't, but everyone seems to really need this topic today, so that's really cool. If anybody has any questions after, you can always send me an email or send me a tweet on Twitter, and we can talk about anime. So I'm going to be talking about some great series to be shown at teen anime clubs. I'm going to go through several different genres, and for each show we're going to talk about where you can watch it, what age groups it's appropriate for, and a little bit of what it's about, what the topics are. Before that, we're going to go through some places where you can watch anime online for free, not for free, in different places. And you can also find those places in the suggested resources handout. There are direct links for the different legal places to watch anime online. So don't worry about copying down links or websites or anything, because it's all there in the suggested resources. If you are just joining us and you haven't yet, please tell us in the chat where you are watching from, what your library is, what your position is, and if anyone is watching with you. If you have any questions while we are going through the different series, just throw them in the chat, and at the end of each genre section, I will take a look at the questions and read them, and we'll talk about it. If you also have suggestions based on the different genres that we go to, suggestions are awesome. Not everybody can watch every anime out there or get it on their radar, so if there's something that I don't talk about that you've had a great experience with, especially at an actual anime club that you can tell us about, definitely share that in the chat, and if we've got time, I will read those out hopefully at the end of each section, and if not, we'll go back through and talk about those at the end. We love to hear from you guys and what has worked for you as well. So let's get started. First, we're going to go through some very basics, which if a lot of you have done anime clubs or worked with teens, you probably know some of these words. The first is manga. Manga is the Japanese comic style, traditionally in black and white with some color pages. A lot of manga is found serialized in magazines that some of us might remember, like Shonen Jump and In America. But most likely you'll find it in multiple chapters bound in one book called a volume. Anime is what we're going to talk about today. It's just animation that emulates the manga art style. It could be a TV series, a mini-series, a movie, or sometimes something called an OVA, which is an original video animation that is part of a series, but not an actual numbered episode. A light novel is an increasingly popular format of Japanese novel in which dialogue is very common, the prose is short, and they're usually pretty short novels. They can be read quickly. They're usually quite small in size. In Japan, a light novel is smaller than a typical Japanese manga volume. However, when light novels are published in the US, they're actually quite large. They're publishing them bigger than a typical manga volume and including a lot of color pages, which is really nice. Light novels also include a lot of character illustrations that are done specifically for the book, and there are black and white illustrations done every few chapters throughout the novel. Something that I didn't include in here, but that I want to mention, is that the order of release of any of these formats varies depending on the series. The most typical order for things to happen in Japan for the origin of a series is that a manga will be published. It will be picked up by a Japanese magazine such as Shonen Jump, and they will serialize it in their weekly publication or their monthly publication. And then if that is popular and it does good on the weekly polls, they will combine those chapters into volumes and publish those in Japan. If that does well, American publishers will pick those up and publish the manga in English here. Then, if the manga continues to be popular in Japan, they will production companies there will create an anime out of it, and then companies here will pick up that anime. Sometimes, especially for genre series, science fiction and fantasy light novels are very popular in Japan, and a lot of times a light novel will become very popular and then they will turn that into an anime, straight from light novel to anime, and then they will make a manga adaptation of that anime. So some examples of that are Sword Art Online. That's a very good example. Yeah, that's a lot of information all at once. If anybody has any questions, let me know. And then we're going to use some other words today, and that's shonen and shoujo. Shonen means boy, and shoujo means girl. And these terms are used to differentiate between different audiences and genres. So Shonen Jump is a boys manga magazine, although everyone reads it. That's just how the terms developed decades ago in Japan when manga was first starting out. And so shonen manga is typically has a male protagonist, not always, but typically it's usually adventure, fighting, things like that, like Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball Z. Those are all shonen manga. Shoujo manga is romance manga, drama, slice of life, paranormal romance, things like that are shoujo manga. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Where to watch anime? If you don't know about Crunchyroll, Crunchyroll is the best. Crunchyroll is so awesome that they now offer an outreach service pretty much made specifically for libraries to use for showing anime at anime clubs. If you go to crunchyroll.com/outreach, or if you go to their website and scroll all the way to the bottom and click on outreach, you can apply for a premium account. If you have getting the premium account means that you can watch anime with no commercials and you can watch it not only without commercials, but right away as soon as the episode airs. Free users have to wait a week for new episodes after they come out, and they also have to watch commercials, and that's no fun, especially during an anime club when you may not have a lot of time and there are commercials 5 times through a 24-minute episode. So in order to get a Crunchyroll outreach service, you've just got to fill out the initial form. They will get back to you. If they don't get back to you, send them a help request through their website, and someone will fix it for you. Then, at least once every 90 days, you have to fill out a survey on your profile page when you're logged in, saying what you watched, how many people there were, if those people already knew about Crunchyroll or not, which episodes you watched. That's it. You turn that in, you're good. You don't have to take any pictures. You don't have to email anyone. You just fill out the form and you're good. Only once in the past 9 months or so I've been using it have they not refilled my premium account after I did the survey, and I just emailed them and they fixed it within a couple days. So Crunchyroll has mostly subtitled anime. They have very little anime that is dubbed in English. So that's another big difference between anime that you can watch in the US is it's either in the original Japanese with the original Japanese voice actors and it's subtitled, or you get it dubbed in English. Crunchyroll doesn't have a lot that is dubbed in English. However, despite how much my Teen Anime Club attendees want to rewatch things they've already seen in English, I usually force them to watch something in Japanese and pay attention and read the subtitles, and they really like it. They come out enjoying it and glad that they watched it and suffered through those subtitles. It's a worthwhile endeavor to push for English subtitles. So we're talking about Crunchyroll because Crunchyroll is the best. We talk about them first. But we are going to talk about some other options as well. Second is Funimation. Funimation does not have a service that works well for, they don't have an outreach service, basically. But they do have premium accounts, and you've got the prices there. It's $5.99 a month or $60 annually, and that gets you commercial free. It gets you access to their new service, which is Simuldubs. They dub it as soon and as fast as possible in English with their group of voice actors that they have on staff, and that comes out really fast if people are really into dubs. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet, and the quality and stuff, because it gets done so fast, but that's a thing. A lot of people like it. With a premium account, you also get access to their entire library of anime, which includes lots of classics and lots of popular stuff, lots and lots of English dubs. If you know for sure your audience will only watch English dubs, they will not come back if you do a couple of anime clubs that don't have English. Funimation's probably going to be for you. You're going to want to look through it ahead of time if you can't afford or don't want to pay for it annually. Maybe just paying every once in a while for an event is what you want. But if you don't pay for a premium account, if you just get a free account on Funimation, you get very limited access to their library. You might only get the first season of a show or the first 2 episodes, the first 4 episodes. It's not consistent at all. So it's something you've got to research ahead of time if you want to use Funimation. They have an extensive library, and premium and free access is very inconsistent. You can also watch anime on Viz.com. Viz is the publisher behind Shonen Jump, and so a lot of the really popular shonen series are on Viz. They don't have any premium option that I could find. Their website has been updated recently, and the interface is kind of awful. Although it looks really great, but it's not easy to use. As far as I can tell, you can only buy per episode or per season, which means if you want to for sure show an episode of Naruto legally in English, you can go on Viz.com and buy that episode, or you can buy a whole season. Viz is really what it's best for, is a great place to maybe bring up on a projector at your anime club and talk about how they can read manga for free. And there are a ton of free pages, free chapters, whole volumes that are free to read on Viz.com. And so it's a great introduction to getting teens into reading and watching anime legally, but still for free. It has a lot of series with English dubs that also stream for free. I can't remember any of them right now, but I wouldn't recommend it for anime clubs. It's because they may have 6 free volumes of Bleach, maybe, but they're not going to have all of the anime for you. This is great for manga. And we're going to save some time because we cannot talk about Daisuki.net anymore because they are dead. As of a week ago, Daisuki is going out of business. It was the first place that you could watch Dragon Ball Super, which is the new Dragon Ball series. And they're still going to be showing Dragon Ball Super maybe through the end of the year. But after that, they're done. You can't pay for their service anymore. They're refunding people. It's really sad. We're losing another streaming service, but we'll make up for it. So no point talking about Daisuki. Okay, we're going to talk about some classic anime series that you've maybe heard of, that your teens might love, but that are definitely things that you can show at anime clubs. We're going to go through these quickly because they're probably the most well-known series, and the clock is moving on us. First one is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is the direct manga adaptation. It is not the same as Fullmetal Alchemist, period. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is over 50 episodes. It is the exact adaptation of the manga, one of the most amazing stories ever told. You can watch the sub and dub. I apparently put sub and sub, but you can watch the sub and the dub on Crunchyroll, which is fantastic. It's highly recommended for older audiences, at least 14 and up, because there's intense violence and gore in the first couple episodes. It's not so violent or intense all the time, but it does have really gory moments, especially in the beginning, and I'm not going to tell you why because that will spoil it for people who haven't seen it. But it is amazing. There are also a few Fullmetal Alchemist movies. Not all of them are canon and follow the manga, but they're still fun to watch. Blue Exorcist is amazing. If you haven't shown it at an anime club, I highly recommend it. It's really fun. The characters are great for all ages to watch. It's good for new people because it's funny but serious, and it's just great shonen anime. It has a little bit of everything. There are now 2 seasons of the anime. The first season came out a long time ago, but it has a resurgence in popularity with the second season. You can watch the sub and the dub of the first season on Crunchyroll, and you can watch the second season subtitled only also on Crunchyroll. However, it is not great for the extremely conservative community because of its religious themes. In the first episode, there are demons. Satan possesses the main character's dad. It might not be so great for some audiences, so know your audience. Soul Eater. I think that Soul Eater is the most requested anime at Anime Club ever across all the libraries I've worked at. They always want to watch Soul Eater. I have only I don't think I've ever shown Soul Eater at an anime club because everyone has seen it. I like to make them watch new things. But if you're wanting to start a new anime club, if you haven't done one before, or you want to revitalize attendance, advertising or telling people that you're going to show Soul Eater is a great way to get people to come. It's funny, it's action-packed, it's got weird, quirky characters that everybody loves. It's good for 6th grade and up. Yeah, Diego says that his anime club has watched and rewatched Soul Eater on at least half a dozen occasions. It is, they love it. If you want to watch the dub, the English dub, which is pretty good, you can watch that on Funimation, or you can watch it subtitled on Crunchyroll. And Bleach. Bleach is a classic shonen anime. You can watch it on Netflix, which is pretty cool. Not always a ton of anime on Netflix. You can watch all 15 seasons subtitled on Crunchyroll. You can watch them dubbed in English or subtitled on Viz.com because Viz is the home of shonen anime. Bleach is about a guy with orange hair named Ichigo Kurosaki who finds out that he is descended from some soul reapers and he needs to work with them to defeat demons in his hometown, and it just escalates from there. It's good, funny action. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some new shonen series that are really fun. First one I want to talk about is My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia is taking the otaku and nerd world by storm right now. The second season is, I think, finishing up now. It is an amazing new superhero and shonen anime. It's great for grade 6 and up. You can watch it subtitled on Crunchyroll. You can read free chapters of the manga on Viz.com. And on Funimation, they have seasons 1 and 2 in English as well as Japanese. Carlene says that she showed this last month and her teens adored it. I also showed the first episode a couple months ago and the teens loved it. It is about a world where people in the future, people started developing quirks, and some people use these quirks to be villains and some people use them to be superheroes, and superheroes are kind of a a business. Like the government pays you to be a superhero if you can meet your quota. And Deku, the main character with the green hair, he really, really wants to be a superhero. Like his mentor, his idol, All Might, who's that guy in the back with the crazy smile. Um, but he finds out when he's young that he does not have any potential to develop a quirk. He is never going to be a superhero with a special quirk. But he's determined that he's going to do it anyway. He's going to just accomplish his dreams, even though he doesn't have any special powers. It is just really awesome. So, My Hero Academia. Highly recommend it. Another one with a very similar plotline is Black Clover. The anime hasn't started yet, but Crunchyroll just announced at San Diego Comic-Con that it will start in October. So this is a great one to plan ahead for. It's appropriate for grades 6 through 12. It's a shonen series set in a fantasy world with very, very interesting character designs and really interesting world building. And you will definitely be able to watch it on Crunchyroll starting in October. I also highly recommend you get the manga for your collection. It's about a world in which people have magic. Instead of quirks, they have magic. And depending on your abilities, you're tested and you're sent to magic academies. And you get to join with a certain team or guild. And the guild leaders pick you based on your ability and affinities for different kinds of magic. But the main character, Asta, has no magic. At one point, in the first couple chapters, he's attacked by these birds that are attracted to anti-magic areas. They won't leave him alone because he has zero magic, just like Deku has zero superpowers. But it's also just it's really awesome. The kids are gonna love it. It's funny, it's dramatic. You really get connected to the characters. This is one to look forward to in a couple months. And Boruto, Naruto Next Generations. Naruto is over. Who ever thought that Naruto would end? But it hasn't really ended because we've got Boruto. It's the sequel to the classic series. There's a movie and there's a TV show currently happening. The movie would make a great anime program as well, just on its own. But you're going to want to ask your regulars first if they want to watch it, because if they haven't finished Naruto, they're not going to want to watch Boruto. So it really depends. You can watch it in Japanese only on Crunchyroll and Viz. I think Viz owns the rights, and they haven't dubbed it in English yet. Okay, we're moving right along. We're going to talk about some classic sports anime, and then we're going to move on to some newer sports anime. First one we're going to talk about is Kuroko's Basket. In Japanese, it's called Kuroko no Basket. This is still pretty popular with the sports anime crowd. As you can see, it's about a high school basketball team. You can watch all seasons of it in Japanese on Crunchyroll. There are several seasons. It's definitely appropriate for grades 6 through 12, and I haven't been able to tell if it's on Netflix, if anyone knows, but it's a pretty classic series that I think might be watchable elsewhere. If you have a good sports crowd, or you wanted to show something a little different, and this would be a good way to go. It's very action-packed sports anime. Thanks for checking, Carlene. It is not on Netflix. All right, now we know. Another classic sports anime. It's an extremely popular series about a volleyball team. That's Haikyuu. I believe Haikyuu had a resurgence in popularity recently because there was a newer season. The manga is also really popular. Kids come into the teen library and they look at the shelves and they say, "Oh, you have Haikyuu," and they're pretty excited to see the manga. The manga is a little bit older, but it looks very new. It's got a really fresh new look to the covers that makes it really worth buying, even though it's a little bit older. You can watch 3 seasons on Crunchyroll in Japanese, and as far as I can tell, you can't watch Haikyuu legally anywhere else. Like most of the sports animes, Haikyuu is great for grades 6 and up. All right. This is a bicycle anime. It's still sports, but not quite typical sports. It's not quite as well known as Haikyuu and Kuroko's Basket, but Yowamushi Pedal is a bike racing series that's really exciting and good for, um, well, it's good for grade 6 and up, but it's a little more well known by the older anime crowd. You can watch the original series first season as well as the second season and 3 of the movies on Crunchyroll in Japanese. So if you're looking for some anime movies to show, Yowamushi Pedal has 3 movies. That's a lot on Crunchyroll. Prince of Tennis. Prince of Tennis might be the oldest classic sports anime that I've got on the list. I don't know much about it, I have to say. I haven't read or watched any Prince of Tennis, but I imagine that I would like it because it's just classic shonen sports action. You can watch the original series dubbed or subbed on Viz.com. I think Viz might have a couple of the preview chapters for free as well to read, but Viz is where you want to watch it if you want English. You can watch the second season, and there's a special series and extra features on Crunchyroll in Japanese, if you're interested in any of that. Okay, we're just flying through the classics, and now we're going to talk about some brand new series. These are ones that I found out about through Crunchyroll. The first new sports anime I want to talk about is Clean Freak Aoyama-kun. I showed this at my anime club last month, and the kids loved it. They were laughing hysterically throughout 90% of the first episode. It's currently airing this summer season on Crunchyroll, so you can only watch it. You can only watch it there. Crunchyroll is showing the new subtitled episodes as they come out weekly. I think there are maybe 6 episodes now. It's appropriate for grades 6 and up, but it gets pretty weird, so it might be better for grades 8 and up. It gets weird because that girl back there with the baseball bat is a stalker. She's a little creepy. She gets kind of violent and scary. And I don't know if they're trying to make it funny, but I think it's funny, but the kids might not think it's so funny. The first episode is perfect for all ages, but she gets a little creepy in the second episode. So if you want to show that, just keep in mind it gets a little weird. Okay, next one I want to talk about is Free Iwatobi Swim Club. And this one is a few years old. It took the anime world by storm when it came out. This swimming anime is incredibly popular, even with a lot of librarians that I know. They watch it. It's an original anime series not based on any manga or novel. It's about a swimming team in a small town in Japan. You can watch season 1 subtitled or dubbed in English on Crunchyroll, and season 2 is just in Japanese on Crunchyroll. Season 2 came out pretty recently, and it brought the popularity back. I think there's been a movie released in Japan as well. I'm not sure if it's out here yet, but if you have a good crowd of regular, I don't want to be stereotypical, but teen girls love Free Iwatobi Swim Club. There's a lot of teenage anime boy muscles going on in the swim club anime, and it's a lot of fun. It's also just good character development and drama. All the characters are different. There's a lot of competition, a lot of drama between childhood friends, things like that. Among otaku, we just call it the swimming anime. It's a fun one. All right, and Yowamushi Pedal, New Generations came out. You can watch the whole first season in Japanese on Crunchyroll, and it's not available anywhere else. As far as I can tell, it's not as popular as the original series, but it's a good introduction for new otaku to something a little bit older. Um, when I talked about Clean Freak Aoyama-kun a few slides ago, the ending sequence of that series is done in a like 60s, 70s anime style. Think Astro Boy. So brand new modern animation and characters done in like Astro Boy style. The kids were freaking out. They lost it. They thought it was the weirdest thing they had ever seen. And so that shows me that they might not be so open to an older style of animation. I don't want to just throw them right into it. So if instead of jumping right into a classic sports anime that might not have that clean, sharp animation that they're used to, doing something like Yowamushi Pedal New Generations is a good transition there. Good transitional anime. Okay, now we're going to flip it totally around and talk about shoujo anime. These are all romance anime. A couple of them are new, a couple are older, and yeah, we'll just get right into it. If anyone has any shoujo or shonen anime recommendations that they want to share, don't forget that you can throw those in the chat, and I will share them with everyone at the end. All right, the first one I want to talk about is convenience store boyfriends. In Japanese, it's called konbini kaneshi, and konbini is the Japanese word for convenience store. This one is currently airing the summer season on Crunchyroll. There are 6 episodes right now, and it is a really sweet and silly slice of life romance. It's really adorable. The animation is really well done. The music is great. The characters are pretty relatable, especially for teens. You get to see a little bit of Japanese high school life and what it's like there, what the cliques and the different friend groups are like. The kids walk to school every day, and it's interesting to see if you have teens that really only watch like shonen stuff, like Naruto or Dragon Ball Z or Soul Eater, they might not get to see kind of what a regular Japanese life is like. And while this anime is a little exaggerated, like the uniforms are a bit off and the characters don't really act like the students don't really act like that in their classrooms, but it still gives them a little bit of an idea. This is a good introduction to that. You can watch it only in Japanese on Crunchyroll with English subtitles because, like I said, it's currently airing this season. It's probably my favorite slice of life drama romance from this year. All right, the next one I want to talk about is an anime called Say I Love You. This one is based on a very popular manga series. I know a lot of teen girls at all the libraries I've worked at have always asked for this series. They really like the manga. Um, they've made it into a 13 episode season, only one season, and only available on Crunchyroll. I would say it's definitely good for grades 8 and up. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this one. It's sappy and romantic and angsty, and it reminds me of a lot of the conversations I have with teen girls at the teen desk. So this is a good one if you've got an audience like that. And all of these, they're also things that you can recommend to teens. They can watch things on Crunchyroll for free. They just have to deal with the commercials. You don't even need an account. You can just pull it up and search and look for this series. And once you find it, you can just hit play and watch all 13 episodes if you want. All right, my favorite slice of life romance anime from last year was Orange. It's beautifully animated. Oh, Jessica's freaking out in the chat. All caps, didn't know that there was an anime. Yes, the manga is beautiful, and the anime, I might say, is even better. I highly recommend that you get the anime and the manga. This is something that teens and adults would enjoy. Um, it is about a group of teens and how their lives change as they become friends, and also how their lives change as they are adults. Part of it takes place as the characters are adults and have grown up, gotten jobs, gotten married. A couple of them had a kid, and they look back on their time as teenagers. And I'm not going to say why because I don't want to spoil anything. It's a very sad series, but also really uplifting because of how the characters as adults deal with the changes that they've been through. Um, I think this one would be appropriate for grade 6 and up, for boys and girls, for all anime fans. It really has something for everyone. A couple of the boys are on sports teams. And one of them is really academically inclined. So the characters they're all really relatable, and I just can't recommend it enough. I got some talk going on in the chat about it. There are only 2 volumes of the manga. I think in Japan there may have been a few more, but they combined them into 2 big omnibus volumes for the English release. Jessica says they're going to be talking about this manga at her next anime and manga club next week. Yeah, it's so good. It's made adult men that I know cry multiple times. If you want to see your teen boys cry at an anime, this is the one. It'll really get them. It's so good. You can watch the entire season in Japanese on Crunchyroll, which I highly recommend because the voice acting is incredible. It is also on Funimation. You can watch the first 3 episodes for free, but the rest require a subscription. All right. So the next shoujo anime I want to talk about is called My Little Monster. It's a fun comedy romance series appropriate for grades 6 and up. You can watch the anime only in Japanese with English subtitles on Crunchyroll. I found out about it because I really like the manga. The dialogue is really snappy. The characters are quirky in a non-stereotypical way. Um, it's fun. Angelina said they just got this one in manga form. Yeah, it's not very long. I've also read the manga as ebooks. They are available on Overdrive, which is pretty cool. But as far as the anime, it's got pretty good animation. The voice acting is good. It's about a girl who is really intense about studying. She's kind of a loner and she's kind of a jerk. And this guy who is a slacker, he kind of latches onto her and falls in love with her secretly, and she really wants nothing to do with them. But they end up becoming friends, and their lives get intertwined, and their interactions are just hysterical. One fun thing is the guy keeps a pet chicken at school, and he's very, very, very attached to that pet chicken. Your teens are going to love that pet chicken. And the girl really cares nothing for the pet chicken. And it's just fun comedy romance. Okay, we're going to move on to something very different, some fantasy anime. One a little bit older and a couple newer. First one I want to talk about is Yona of the Dawn. If anyone has read or watched this, please let me know what you think. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, though I do have some of the manga in my library and it looks gorgeous. It is an epic fantasy romance series, and you can watch 2 seasons of it in Japanese with English subtitles on Crunchyroll. Funimation also has seasons 1 and 2 in English and in Japanese. I don't believe you need a subscription for those, but you will have plenty of commercials. And looks like Angelina and Christina both love the manga and the anime. It's pretty popular with the teens at my library, mostly girls, but the boys as well if they're looking for a fantasy series. Okay, now we're going to talk about Elegant Yokai Apartment Life, and I'm going to get really excited. I just showed this one at my anime club yesterday, and the kids loved it so much that we watched the second episode right away. They all voted for it. Every person at Anime Club voted to watch the second episode, and that has never happened before. It's a fun new paranormal comedy that is airing this summer season. There are currently 6 or so episodes on Crunchyroll. You can only watch it in Japanese with subtitles because it's currently airing in Japan. That's another really exciting thing about Crunchyroll. It features a lot of Japanese mythology and slice of life culture. The main character has just graduated from high school and he is looking to go to business school. He wants to move out because he doesn't like living with his aunt and uncle and really mean cousin. But the apartments he wanted to move into burned down, and so he has to just suddenly find a new apartment. And a little ghost boy leads him to a guy who finds him a room in this strange old manor, which turns out to be a yokai apartment. Yokai are Japanese spirits and mythological creatures. As you can kind of see in the art here, there's one popping up in the background, and that little boy and his dog are both ghosts. And so the main character, has to deal with suddenly there are strange creatures and ghosts all over the apartment. And they're creeping him out. He's freaking out. This girl exorcises a spirit. He thinks that she's gonna die, but then everything's fine, and he can't handle it, and it's really funny. The second episode gets into more in depth of some of the yokai at the apartment and why they're there. One of the later episodes tells the story of the young boy and the dog and what happened to them. It's really sad. But everyone changes for the better. There's a lot of great character development throughout each episode, as well as a lot of comedy. I guess I put it for grades 8 and up because the characters are a little older. And it's pretty fast paced, and the subtitles go really fast. Although I don't think there's any. I had some sixth graders at my anime club, and it was fine. They really liked it. So I think it would be good for grade 6 and up, which is what my teen designation is. So, Elegant Yokai Apartment Life. Watch it on Crunchyroll. It's so good. And The Ancient Magus Bride. This one is much more well known now that they showed the first episode as a movie in theaters across the country. I'm sad I didn't get to see it, but there wasn't one within a 5-hour drive of me. It is currently in development as a 4-part OVA series. Each episode is about 45 minutes long. They only come out once a year because the animation is absolutely stunning. It is the most beautiful animation you will see outside of a Makoto Shinkai movie, possibly. That's debatable. But it's based on a manga series that I highly, highly recommend for your collections. You must have this series. Everyone could read it. Fourth graders through adults. Like, I would recommend this to my aunts who do not even know what anime is, and I think they would like it. It is Angelina says she's been ordering the manga. It's one of her highest circulating non-shonen series. A lot of people are saying, yeah, they love it. It's amazing. They got to see it in theaters. It's about a girl who kind of grew up as an orphan. And in the first chapter, she gets sold to this Magus, who you see in the back with the skull head, to be his supposed bride. But really, he wants an apprentice. And she grows up she lives with him and learns his magus trade, and they encounter a lot of magical creatures, and there's character development. They learn new things about each other. They learn how to deal with this strange human in their midst, and it's just so beautifully drawn and animated and written. It's a strange place that Chisei, the main character, has to live in. And everyone keeps telling her, are you sure we want to live with this Magus? He's dangerous. It's dangerous for a human to be part of the fairy world. But it's the only place she's only really felt at home. And I feel like that would also resonate with a lot of teens. So I highly recommend it. Some of the fairies are a little creepy and dark, and a couple of them are pretty much nude because they're uh, succubus and little tiny strange fairies and things like that. So it might be better for grades 8 and up. Ooh, I finished early. That's all I've got. I can go back and talk about any of those series again, or if we want to talk about recommendations, or anyone wants to talk about their experiences with any of those particular streaming services, I would love to hear about it. All right, the first thing we've got is let's talk about RWBY. We're talking about the American series, RWBY. It is spelled all caps RWBY, and it is a computer animated series. And it is done by a production company called Rooster Teeth, who also makes a lot of other geeky shows. RWBY is really awesome. You can watch it on Crunchyroll. It's possibly on Netflix, but Crunchyroll is the way to go. It's in English. It's an American series, and it's about a world where there are magical academies, and magic is kind of from this thing called dust, which I know sounds familiar to us Philip Pullman fans, but there are also magical monsters. And this girl named Ruby Rose gets admitted to Beacon Academy, and she's really excited to be going there. She's like a genius at magic. However, she's not so good at like regular human things and being a friend and not tripping over herself. And it's hilarious. It's poignant. It's action-packed. It's amazing. If you have not shown Ruby, it's RWBY at your anime club, I highly recommend you take the time to show it. I believe I don't know if it's out in the US, but RWBY was so popular around the world that manga companies in Japan produced it as a manga series, and they dubbed it in Japanese to show on Japanese TV. So cool. That's how big RWBY is. So I highly recommend it. There are 4 seasons of RWBY, I think. If you're looking for RWBY, they don't call them seasons, they call them volumes. So I cosplayed a character from RWBY Volume 2, which was actually Season 2. So yeah, RWBY is great. All right, let's go back here. Angelina asked, how does everyone go about choosing for their anime for their clubs? And do you let them vote? Everyone seems to do different things. What I do is I pick out series from Crunchyroll. I add 3 or 4 series to my Crunchyroll queue. I try to pick at least 2 from the currently airing season. But I'll go back through past seasons or through popular genres. Crunchyroll has their anime database organized through seasons as well as genres. It's very easy to find things and to search. And I'll try to pick 2 from the current season, maybe 2 from the last season, and then I will either just pick one myself that I think the group will like the most. I kind of run by the seat of my pants. I wait and see who shows up and which one they might like the most based on what I've seen. I haven't been keeping up with as much anime this year as I typically do, mostly because of summer reading. And so if I haven't actually watched the series before, I will look it up on my anime list to look up the rating. If there is no rating, I will look up the manga to look up that rating, just to make sure it's going to be okay for my inevitable 6th graders that I'm showing the anime to. If I can't find a rating anywhere else, and I think that we really should watch it, but I'm just not sure, I will ask on Twitter. I'll ask anyone on Twitter. I'll at my anime list. I'll at the the production company, the producer, Crunchyroll, anyone. Hey, I really want to show this. I'm not sure if it's appropriate for sixth graders. What's the rating? And just try to find out. If I'm unsure, ultimately I won't show it because I don't want angry parents. So. But yeah, that's how I do things. And then we'll watch one episode of something, and then I'll ask them, do you want to watch this other series? Here's what it's about. Or do you want to watch the second season of this? Or there's this other series that I picked, and I'll tell them what it's about, and then we'll vote, and then we'll watch that. Let's see if someone else has an answer. Nope. That's just what I do. In the past, I also will pick DVDs from our anime collection at the library, especially if I know there might be tech or internet issues that particular day, or if the projector system is being worked on, which we all know happens constantly. That's the kind of day where I'll go and pick a favorite or a classic from our DVD collection and show that, and they're always happy with that. Megan wants to talk about One Piece. I love One Piece. I don't recommend showing One Piece, the series, at an anime club. Pick one of the movies and do that. Definitely go with a One Piece movie. Elise says that they love Vampire Knight. Fun fact, there's Vampire Knight new manga coming out called Vampire Knight Memories. So hopefully that will be an anime as well. Yeah, Carlene said, yeah, she's shown a One Piece movie and they really liked it. A lot of popular animes, especially shonen stuff, have a movie that you can show as well if you don't want to just show episodes. Christina asked, for showing things on Netflix, do you have to contact them about showing, or does paying the fee take care of the licensing? And I do not know the answer to that. I know that if I pay for Crunchyroll, or if Crunchyroll gives me an outreach account, then the licensing is covered. That's another thing that I love about Crunchyroll's outreach is I'm covered. Angelina recommends some classics. Mushishi and Kino's Journey. There's going to be a new Kino's Journey. Kino's Journey is amazing. Look it up. Mushishi is fantasy, gorgeous animation. If your group likes Ancient Magus Bride, show them Mushishi. Carlene likes showing older anime from the 80s, and her teens seem to like it. Yeah, one of her favorites was the Fantastic Adventures of Unico. Angelina also says that Inuyasha still dominates their library. Wow, Inuyasha, that's a classic. Inuyasha also has a lot of movies that you can show. And Diego mentioned that he showed One Punch Man and Mob Psycho 100. I think that my group would be too weirded out by Mob Psycho 100. But if you have a group of older kids, One Punch Man and Mob Psycho are fantastic for them. Yeah, and there we go. We filled up all of our almost all of our remaining time with everything you guys had to say. Thank you so much for participating and sharing your favorites. There are definitely a ton of classics that you can do. You've always got Sailor Moon, and you've got Vampire Knight, and Cowboy Bebop, and man, although some of Cowboy Bebop is a little intense, you can always show Outlaw Star, especially the teen version, not the unrated version. Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star are fantastic. And the Death Note movie and Death Note new Netflix series that's coming out. They're great. Yeah. So thank you all for participating. And if you have any more questions or suggestions or want help getting things started or need recommendations, I'm always available to talk about anime and manga. Always, always. Just send me an email or find me on Twitter or anything. Or talk to each other. Yeah.
Great job, Eden.
Thank you.
I have one question for you.
Yeah.
How do you balance this with everything else that is in your collections that you have to worry about?
What do you mean balance as far as
Well,
collection?
you probably have kids that don't like anime, right?
Oh
Or do you
yeah.
have, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you do for them?
They have the majority of the teen section for them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, the majority of my collection is fiction, and that's what they get. It's the other way around. How do I find more space for manga?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I moved my comics and consolidated them. Yeah, because we needed more room for manga. It's the highest circulating portion of my collection that takes up the least amount of space. And I know that everyone
Wow.
else will say the same,
That's
but it's
amazing.
worth the money. Yeah.
One other question. How do you weed out of a collection like that when everything is good and everything keeps coming up and coming around? Is there anything to
It
weed?
weeds itself because of condition.
Okay.
And things go out of print very quickly. So I keep things as long as humanly possible until they are falling apart because I know that once it goes, I won't be able to buy it anymore. Literally.
Right. Right.
It will be out of print by then. Even if that's 5 years from now, it may be out of print. And I would say the majority, like so much of my manga is checked out at any given time that I don't need to worry about space.
Right. Right.
Like my own 25 volumes of Dragon Ball Z, but there's only one on the shelf right now.
Wow.
It's like that pretty much everywhere. It's so manga is so expensive. I love it and I can't buy it for myself. Like it just gets more and more expensive every year and everyone wants to read it and you can't afford it. So that's what
Right.
libraries are
Right.
here for.
Yep.
Mhm.
Exactly. Keeps us in business.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you all for participating so well. That was just I couldn't even keep up with all the comments. There were so many of them
I
in the discussion
know.
box.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to see so many people are excited about this and have so much to say and so many opinions. So
Yeah, it
thank
makes
you
me
all for
happy.
coming. And Eden, thank you so much. Your preparations for these things are just fantastic.
Thank
We really
you.
appreciate the effort.
Yeah.
Okay, have a great afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, thanks you all. Thanks for coming, everyone.